Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. We got a real cool build today. What we have here is a Hot Wheels Dixie Challenger. Now, as you can see, the car is missing a lot of paint and there's a lot of scratches in it. But we're going to go ahead and restore this to its original condition. Now, there are a few things here I'm thinking about changing to it, but it'll all stay within the realm of a Hot Wheels Redline. So, go ahead and grab your favorite adult beverage and sit back and let's have some fun with this car. I've already drilled out the post, so let's take the car apart and see what we got. This particular one, let's look at the body first here. Like I said, there's a lot of paint missing and there's some scratches in there. We'll have to clean that up and get it ready for paint. We're going to paint it back the original orange. Now here's the base. It's missing some chrome and it's scratched up, but the base is plastic. Now what's really cool is here we have a Roger Dodger. Same body. It just doesn't have that big hole for the engine in it. And this particular car has a metal base. And it fits up perfectly with the Dixie Challenger. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking the base out of the Roger Dodger. Now look real close here where the name normally goes. There's no name for the plate. That's just something because Hot Wheels ahead of time knew that they were going to be using this base on multiple cars. And that's why they didn't put the name there. Now I've got several Roger Dodgers here. So I think I'm not going to miss one base here. So I'm going to go ahead and probably take the base out of the Roger Dodger and replace it. Interior's in good shape. Now the windshield is not broken, but it's pretty scratched up, so we're going to have to clean that up and smooth it up and get it in the gauzy. But that'll be really cool. Let's go ahead and get that body in the paint stripper and get that going. Here we got the embalming fluid, and we're going to get that body all coated up. That ought to work pretty good. Now, if you really wanted to, you could take a brush at this time and get all the excess paint stripper off there to start saving you paint stripper. Now, paint stripper's fairly cheap, but still, any way you can cut cost or corners or something like that that's going to save you money, I'm all for it. So that's what I'm probably going to start doing here. Let's let it set.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
After getting it out of the paint stripper, we cleaned it up with the Zep degreaser and we scuffed it up with some steel wool and some Scotch-Brite pads and just a little bit of sandpaper. So here we're going to hit it with the Tamiya surface primer and paint it all white with the primer and get it ready to go for regular paint. And here's what it looks like after painting it with the primer. That Tamiya primer is fantastic. So I told you we're going to paint the car in the original orange. Here we're going to use the Chroma Air Orange. Now this paint can be used right out of the bottle. It is a permanent automotive grade base coat, but it has to be clear coated after it dries and you're done. So that's something to consider. Now they recommend at Spray Gunner that you use a 0.5 needle to spray this paint. And you can clean this paint with alcohol or water or the cleaner that you can buy and purchase there at Spray Gunner. So like I said, it can be used straight out of the bottle. But the needle that I have in my gun is a 0.3 and Spray Gunner recommends that you use a 0.5. So I'm going to thin it down just a little tiny bit and get it all mixed up. And you don't need that much. This paint covers fantastic and it's very, very smooth. Now we're going to mix it up here. I got these little fat picks. I guess they're for like hors d'oeuvres or something like that. And I'll get that all mixed up. Now I do have my automatic paint mixer from Badger that you can get at my Amazon Marketplace page, which is really cool. And you only need a little bit here. You don't have to make up a whole bunch. Now it'll come close to the top of the cup in your airbrush, but again, you really don't need that much. You're only spraying one car, so it's going to take you a while to figure out exactly how much paint you need to mix up in order for you to do just one car and have enough. Now, one of the things I've learned is you should take a little bit of the cleaner or whatever and spray it through the gun initially, basically to get it primed up and ready to go so it's not dry. This is a trick I've learned over the years, and there's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. So far, I'm very happy with the Chroma Air paints, and you can get those at spraygunner.com, so please check them out. They've got a big array of colors and fluorescence and everything, and the fact that you can use them right out of the bottle, it's incredible, because that right there in itself will definitely save you some money in your painting supplies. So please check out the line of paints of Chroma Air at spraygunner.com. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. I get all the underside as best as I can in the fender wells and on the door jambs and everything. And then I'll come back in and do the main parts of the car. Just make sure that you're going the entire length of the vehicle and don't do little dibble dabbles and just little spot painting and stuff like that if you can help it. Just like you're painting a regular car, you want to make sure that you're getting the entire length and spraying and getting a nice clean finish all the way through. Now, again, this paint is water-based, so you can take the air from your airbrush without getting too close to it, and you can use the air from your airbrush to dry the paint so you can put more paint down. Now, this paint does cover extremely well, which is really cool. Again, you're going to be using less paint, so you're going to be saving money, and that's where Chroma Air comes in. I'm looking forward to see if they get any more different kinds of paint in, like metallics and like that. Now, the paint here is still wet, so we're going to let that dry overnight, even though you can dry it with the airbrush.
7:59 a.m.
Now we're going to put the decals on. I cut them as close as I possibly can to the artwork that I need to put on there. That way there's not a lot of extra overhang. You got to be careful though when you're cutting out your decals, because if there's any complex curves or anything like that in your artwork, then you might want to leave some material in between to make sure that your decal isn't going to buckle on top of itself or fold over itself. But that's only going to come with time and doing it and experience. Once I get it positioned, I'll take a Q-tip and I'll roll out the excess water underneath and then rub out any of the air bubbles that are on or underneath the decal. Now, when you're using the Q-tip, please be careful, because you've got the little hairs and the fibers there, and it will possibly come off and stick to your car and like that. And if you don't see it when you go to clear coat it, then you're going to have hairs underneath your clear coat. So be careful with that. I rub down a little bit of water. Now, these Chroma Air paints, when they dry flat. So you're going to have to make sure that you clear coat them. Now, they are a little bit harder to move. Your decals are a little bit harder to move on a flat surface. They're a lot easier to move if your surface has already been clear coated. But again, that's something that's going to be up to you. We'll let that dry over a few hours, and now we're going to go ahead and clear coat the car. I mixed up just enough to clear coat just the one vehicle. I get all the sides, I get the underneath, the fender wells, all the hard to reach places, and then I'll come back in and do the sides, and then flip it up and do the top and the back of the car. And this is just like the other paints from the Redline shop that you use, the Spectre Flame paints. You want to make sure that you put down some tack coats first. You don't want to saturate it. One, because it'll have runs in it, and two, you can possibly get the decal to bleed. and this will happen if you saturate it.
The very next morning.
Now this video is a little bit longer than normal because there's so much more that I have to cover here. Now, we're going to do the windshield. I'm starting off with about 400 grit sandpaper. That's a little bit aggressive, but there's an awful lot of scratches on this. So I'll get the front of the windshield and try and get that smoothed down. And then I'll get the back of the windshield, or the back window, and get that all smoothed out. Just take your time with it, don't rush it. You got to remember that a lot of these parts are anywhere from 40 to 50 years old. Now it jumped up a little bit to 1200. Now, I could have gone to 800 or 1000. I just couldn't find any, so I grabbed what I had. So we're going to smooth it out a little bit more. Now, the bigger the number of the sandpaper, the finer the grains are, for folks that didn't know that. And what you're doing here is you're stepping down here, or stepping up, however you want to say it, and the finer the grit, you're going to take out those heavier scratches and you're going to work them out eventually. So once you use this sandpaper, then you're going to go up another step, and then you're going to go up another step if it's in really bad shape. You might be able to get away with just going with the super fine sandpaper. Now this one is a little bit higher step up. You get the general idea here though. Now we're going to use some Meguiar's Plastex polish, and we're going to polish up this windshield. Now it's still going to look a little bit dull. Now you can sand it a little bit more and then polish it a little bit more, but what we're going to do is we're going to polish it down as best we can, and then we're going to dip it in the windshield coating solution, the Gauzy. Or you can use the Future Floor Finish or the Pledge Revive, whatever you wish. But it's going to make it look that much better because we've gotten all those big scratches out now. And you can use any brand of polish here. I prefer this Meguiar's Plastex. I found it at AutoZone. Now you can also find this polish on my Amazon Marketplace page, and you'll see a link for that in the comments. Just copy it and paste it to your web browser, and it'll take you right to the page. It'll take you there, and you'll find all kinds of things there that you may have a hard time finding. Now we've taken the base off the Roger Dodger, which is a metal base, and we're going to have to make some new axles for it. I've already made some new axles and I started gluing them in place. Now these bearings that you see there, I got those from Bearcat 3D Designs. Now Grizz makes a wonderful product and he stands behind what he sells. Now to make these axles, I use this piano wire, this number 5499 K&S music wire 0.020, and this is what I use to make my axles. Now those bearings, they go on there really easy and they work fantastic. Bearcat3ddesigns.com. Please check out Grizz and his webpage, and he's got all kinds of things on there for you, such as engines and little figures like drivers and exhaust pipes and all kinds of other parts. So please check it out. That's nice. Let's move on. Here we've got the base, and we detailed the base out. I colored in the tail lights, I colored in the grille, the headlights, and the signal markers. That's going to look really sweet. That base turned out super nice. Okay, here we got all of our parts. We got the body with the new decals, the orange from Chroma Air, and you can get the Chroma Air paint at Spray Gunner. We've got the base all detailed up. That looks sweet. The wheel's sticking a little bit, but I'll get that fixed. That looks nice. Interior looks great. Windshield looks great after putting it in the gauzy. And that clear coat from the Redline shop. And here's what we started with. This Dixie Challenger. It's pretty tired looking. It's got a lot of paint missing. The decals are faded. I'm not a big fan of the black walls, and that's why I went with red lines on this build. But we changed out the base with a Roger Dodger because of the metal base, and the metal base from the other car fit perfectly on this one. And there's several cars that base will fit on, so that's a pretty good deal right there. So we took it apart. We put the body in the paint stripper, got that all prepped up and painted. We did the base. We put brand new wheels, brand new axles, and we got the wheels from the Redline shop. We got the bearings from Bearcat 3D Designs. We got the paint from spraygunner.com. That was the Chroma Air paint. And we got everything all put together. Now let's go ahead and see what we came up with. And this is how it turned out. What a beautiful restoration. I had such a great time doing this car, and I'm excited the way it turned out. This is going to go in my collection for sure. Now, if you folks have any cars you want me to restore for you, just get a hold of me in the comments. I do read every single comment. I can restore your old red lines and make them look brand new again. Now, people say, oh, it ruins the value. You know what? I'd rather have a good-looking car in my collection versus what they call a filler car. Because, you know what? If it's all beat up and it looks like hell, it's not worth anything. So, you can get the new cars and the blisters if you can find them and pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for them. I'll just have some really nice cars in my collection, knowing that I took my time, I restored them myself, and these cars will look absolutely beautiful in my collection or any other collection. Now I will take other red lines in exchange for restoring yours. Join the team. You'll be helping the channel by helping with supplies. What you receive in return, you'll see videos at least a day or more in advance. You'll get personal advice for your own diecast hobby. I'll be available for video one-on-one help. We'll do prize drawings once a month or as time permits. Exclusive customs offers only available to members, and many, many more offers. I'd like to take this time to thank my current Patreons, Grim Reaper Level, William K7 Robinson, Dale Johnson, and Matt Miller. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Mortician Level, Jake Rademacher, Ray Berger, Air Warrior Coffee Company, Ricky Montalvo, Jason Warren, and Sam Pascal. Funeral Director, Double B's Customs, check out his YouTube page. Diecast Sheriff, check out his YouTube page, a great builder. Todd Binney, Dave Christensen, and Ryan Goldstein. Gravedigger Level, Aaron Murphy, Leroy, Andrew Hitchens, John Sellers, check out his YouTube page. Bob DeNice, Les Jenkins, Trevor DeViz, Grizz Flowers, check out Bearcat 3D Designs, does some great 3D printing. Chris Decker, Keith Kripe, Johnny Hicks, and my buddy William. Stacy Wright, Richie Ramos, Michael Oxley, and John Holman. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for me every single month. Paul Bearer Level, Gary Tasker, Daryl Begtel, and Milesium 487. Thank you guys so much. Hearst Driver Level, Jim Silva, check out his YouTube page. Richard at Michio Woods Garage sells a lot of Hot Wheels on Facebook. Check out his page. Somo Diecast, Ron Raby there, doing some great builds. Tony Hughes, Wade Hendricks, Stephen Terrence, Diecast Pirate, Pin Tony, Scott Turner, Pete Langford, Joe Pierce, Adam Bowen, Richard Reese, and new member Jason Saylor. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for this page. Please check out in the comments section on how to become a member of the Patreon team for Diecast Graveyard. Thank you so much. Again, join the team today. The link is in the comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure you check out the line of Chroma Air paints from spraygunner.com. They've got a wide array of colors, the fluorescents, the base colors, and they got a lot of new stuff coming out too. They got the metallics and the pearls, and those are coming soon. So please check them out at spraygunner.com. This video was brought to you by the Redline Shop. The Redline Shop offers a complete line of decals, tools to take your car apart, put them back together, replacement hoods, replacement glass, those beautiful Redline tires, and of course the world famous Spectre Flame paints. Fantastic products. The Redline Shop at www.redlineshop.com, where redlines come to life. Thank you so much for joining me today on Diecast Graveyard. Like I said, if you got some restorations you want done, just please contact me in the comments and I'll get back a hold of you. I had a wonderful time today. I hope you learned something on these videos, and if there's something you want to see, contact me. Cheers.